How the hell do you do a crew show about soccer and sports when there aren't any crew, soccer, or sports going on? Welcome back, crew cats. This is the Crew Corner Coronavirus Interim Update News Review. God, this sucks. This sucks just so much. And, I get it. We all get it. Nobody wants to be responsible for killing grandma. It's just... everything fun has been shut down. I am left with, running, reading, and video games. And the video games is actually going to get me pretty far, I'll be honest with you. It's going to get me a lot further than it normally gets me in these scenarios. But, I also work as a wedding DJ and a team bar trivia host, so that's all canceled too. So who knows when all that's going to come back. I know there's going to be options available for us, and SBA loans available, and temporary unemployment available to us through the state of Ohio. I know there's a lot of folks that watch this show who are from out of town. So I'm genuinely curious for the folks who do watch from out of town, who are outside of Ohio. What is your state doing, if anything, to address and to manage this? It's just... it really is something like we've never been through before, and even though it may have been overhyped, it may have been overdramatized, even if it does only have a critical rate of 3%, this is a nation of 350 million people, so if it still gets critical with 3% of people with the rate it's spreading, we're looking at, somewhere around 10 million people. Our hospitals can't manage that. That's ridiculous to expect them of that. I don't even know if there are even 10 million hospital beds available in this country. It's rough. It's rough, and I came in here completely blind, and I have no idea what to talk about. None whatsoever. No sports, no movie theaters, or no movie theater attendance allowed in Ohio. Bars and restaurants are closed down. It is everything. So, I wanted to open it up to you guys. I do still enjoy the journalism. The last journalistic story I kind of put out was the reaction to the Bill Bush story regarding Nationwide, the Crew, and the city of Columbus, all of which had nothing to do with the Crew. They just happened to be the pawn in the game. So what I'm thinking I might like to do is some deeper dives into some of the more nuts and bolty aspects of the game and of soccer. So I certainly think I'm going to do a deep dive on the new collective bargaining agreement and really go into what is GAM money versus what is TAM money versus... and how that compares to the salary cap, how the draft and all the academy systems play into it. So I'm definitely going to do a deep dive into the new CBA. If there are any other subjects in MLS and soccer, in sports alone, that maybe you always kind of wanted to know a little bit more about, I'd be more than happy to delve into the research and do a presentation for you guys on that. I'm starting to mess around with the editing software I've got and doing a bit more titles and numbers and sequencing for the show, but man, this sucks. This sucks so much. I just want to know, what are you guys doing? To manage and to stay occupied and not go stir crazy during this time. My wife and I, we got caught up on a couple of summer blockbusters that we missed over the weekend in Men in Black International and Charlie's Angels, not the good one with Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy Liu. No, the new one with the bad writing and the uber feminist agenda. I don't mind a movie with some good feminist agendas to it, but man, they beat you over the head with it on that one. Did that, rewatching a lot of the Marvel Universe. I did not realize how many of the MCU movies I have only seen once. So a lot of these on the rewatch, I'm just picking up little bits and pieces here, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that did happen. Oh, that was a cool Easter egg. Or just in other cases, just taking in the story in a completely different light. But yeah, this one's gonna be rough, guys. MLS already said they're suspending for 30 days, and and other leagues are looking at maybe they might be doing up to 45. So luckily, we're just at the start of our season. So there will be an MLS season. This will pass. This will pass. We'll get through this, and it's gonna be all right. When it comes to the preventative measures that states are taking to try and mitigate the spread of this virus, we're never gonna know. We will never know if we overreacted and did too much. We will definitely and immediately know if we underreacted and did too little. And that's just not something anyone really wants to mess with, especially when there are loved ones at stake. I think we all have a grandparent. We've all got elderly friends that we enjoy being around, and there's a pretty good chance someone who's got a suppressed or a compromised immune system. There is a good chance you do. And when the CDC and the studies are showing that people can be asymptomatic for 6 to 14 days before they even start showing anything, and they're just walking around as carriers, it's bad, and this shit just spreads. It just does. There's no other way around it. And yeah, if I catch it, I'd probably be fine. There's a good chance I'll be fine. There was a thing about a month ago where I had literally the exact same symptoms. And chances are it was probably just the flu, but it might not have been. It might not have been. I don't know. And I chose not to get checked out, figuring it was just a nasty cold or the flu. Fever and chills, and then I would wake up in the morning in a puddle of my own sweat. I know, it sounds lovely. But it could have been it. I don't know. We don't know. I'll never know. I got over it in about a week. But it's just a difficult time for all of us, and there's nothing really more to say about it other than it just sucks. It sucks for everyone. I mean, when you're looking at a country where, half of us are living paycheck to paycheck and half of us can't even afford a surprise, $400 bill, to have, 40% of the workforce, particularly the bottom 40% of the workforce, the people who are working in your bars, your movie theaters, your restaurants, your wait staff, just to have the rug pulled out from under them like that. Just the anxiety that we're all going through right now. Luckily for the DJ and the trivia hosting and for this, this is something I do on this. Those are things I do on the side. I have another steady job that I'm starting to wonder why they aren't shutting down, and I have a pretty good understanding as to why. Because quite frankly, someone's got to pass this stuff around. And it's rough on everyone, and it's weird. Like, I look at it in the millennial generation, and we haven't had a depression, we haven't had a nom, we haven't had something really collective, just a collective just terrible incident that we all had to go through. I think the closest we had was 9/11, and yeah, that one was rough. But a lot of people who are millennials were like, even then they weren't really old enough to remember it at the time. I'm certainly not comparing coronavirus to 9/11. I'm just trying to think of just collectively bad times for everyone that we had to get through. And that was one day, and then the aftermath. This thing is going to be something that's going to linger with us for a while. Which, it sucks for the sports talk guys, too, because there ain't any sports to talk about. So going forward, I'd like to do some deep dives into more, soccer and sports-specific topics. And for those of you watching and listening, what kind of stuff do you want to know about? Do you want to hear about? I would love to do some research and, dive down the rabbit holes, so to speak. Get in there and really, really get into those nuts and bolts. Someone did recommend after the Nationwide video that, do some more deep dive into the relationship between Nationwide and the city of Columbus. And I've started doing it, and it's a rough rabbit hole. It's insightful. I'm learning a lot of cool stuff, or there's a lot of cool things I'll eventually be able to bring to the table on that one. But, yeah. You look at things differently once you once you start going that far down into things. So ideally, if there's some other stuff you'd like to talk about, I would like to get into that. I'm definitely going to do one on the new CBA. We do have a new Crew Corner podcast coming out this Wednesday. Well, we'll be recording it on Wednesday, so it'll be coming out on Thursday. Not entirely sure what we're going to talk about. Probably more virus stuff, because this isn't going anywhere anytime soon. But we'll get through it. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And we'll all get through with this, because the one thing I can safely say is no matter how bad of a time you're having, one, there's probably someone who's got it worse, and there's hundreds of thousands of people who are right there with you. Now, as George Carlin would say, there's a group for people like that. It's called everybody, and we meet at the bar, but we can't even do that right now. So, for those of you watching this, pour yourself one. We'll get through this. It's going to be all right. Be sure to comment, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what stuff you'd like to see me do a deep dive on for soccer and MLS and sports in general. Anything you'd like to know about. I'm ready to dive into some rabbit holes for this one. So, for Crew Corner, my name is Matt. Take care of yourself, folks, and we'll see you in the next video.